Are they going to testify?
Only if Your Honor has specific questions for them.
I generally, if anybody's going to testify, I'll hear that, or hear the testimony from them, but otherwise they can watch the YouTube link.
All right, Your Honor, if I could just have a moment to get that link and send it over to them. I had sent them the Zoom link.
So,
if you go to, I know it's on the magistrate court website, or Ms. Mary, if you have the link on you, if you want to put it in the chat.
That would be wonderful.
could we, while we're waiting, could we bring up Mr. Cortland Bailey Reed?
Bailey.
Maybe Ms. Freeman, you can tell me. I've got magistrate part-time stream 2, first appearance, Judge Charity Bridgewater, Latrivia Cates Johnson, and Judge Sonia George are my options for links.
I was going to say along that same line. I'm 6, I believe.
Don't go out yet.
Okay.
Bailey, last name Bailey. You know Bailey.
First name. Curtis.
That's you. Judge, is it a Curtis Bailey?
Last name is Reed. R-E-E-D.
Last name Reed.
Yes.
And first name.
Attorney Abbasi, you see the link?
One moment. Yes, I'm going to copy it and send it to them right now.
Good morning.
Good morning. Are you Mr. Reed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Reed, today is a day that has been, your bond hearing has been calendared for today. This matter is going out on YouTube, which means it is public. So I just want to admonish you that anything you say here is not private, nor is it privileged. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. For the record, today is July 1st. This is 8:30 morning, 8:30 in the morning bond calendar. My name is Brad Gardner. I'm going to be the judge presiding over this matter here today. Mr. Cortland Bailey Reed is here requesting bond. He has 2 felony charges pending against him. He's being represented by attorney Lee. Is it Lee or Leah?
Leah Abbasi.
Leah Abbasi. And the state is being represented by attorney Cheryl Freeman. Ms. Abbasi, this is your motion. So I'm gonna allow you to proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Haven't been able to confirm with his family. They're watching via YouTube, but I think we can go ahead and get started. Your Honor, Mr. Reed is here seeking bond on his charges for statutory rape and cruelty to children in the 1st degree. Mr. Reed is 32 years old. He has no felony convictions that I'm aware of. I believe Ms. Freeman has reviewed his record, and I believe that is accurate. Mr. Reed has lived in the Atlanta area his entire life. He has a family who is very supportive. His mother and his father, as I said, they should be joining via YouTube. He is able to live with them as he has been living with them. He has been working at the Piccadilly in Fayetteville for the last 3 years. Living in the home with him is his 5-year-old daughter. This 5-year-old's mother is not involved in her life at all. Mr. Reed's mother actually has custody of her, and Mr. Reed lives there as an active participant, supports her, and is essentially the only parent that he has, that she has. Obviously, we know this is a serious case, statutory rape. However, I will point out that kind of also in our favor it is a statutory rape. I don't believe there's any evidence suggesting that this was against anyone's will. And Mr. Reed was completely cooperative throughout this process. Officers responded to a motel where the alleged victim had said that Mr. Reed was. He was there, he cooperated with them, he gave a statement, he was taken into custody. He simply has no means to flee and certainly would not flee with his minor daughter being basically his entire life. So he has every intention of attending court and all court appearances. We don't believe he's a risk to intimidate witnesses. He does not know this young woman. My understanding is she was walking around in a parking lot perhaps, and he offered her a ride, which she accepted. The only other thing I would like to note, Judge, obviously consent or no knowledge of the age is not a defense to a statutory rape. I would like to note Mr. Reed, as I said, has made a statement. Some of his choices we believe are somewhat influenced by his mental age. He has always had been in extra classes. He has been diagnosed, or excuse me, he has an application pending for intellectual developmental disabilities. He has been receiving social security benefits for quite a while for disability. He has diagnoses of ADHD and schizophrenia, which is why he's been on disability, sees a counselor regularly, and his IQ is 71, so his mental age is significantly closer to the alleged victim rather than his numerical age. We don't believe he's a risk of committing other offenses. He will absolutely abide by any conditions that this court would like to set. Ideally, he would like to go to his job and continue supporting his daughter. If Your Honor is not comfortable with that, as I said, he will abide by absolutely any conditions the court is willing to set. We are asking that he receive a bond in the amount of $10,000. His family is not of excessive means. That would probably be the amount necessary for him to be released. And of course, any bonding company he can make payments to, he'll be able to do with his job. That job is waiting for him, Your Honor. I believe that's all we have at this time. As I stated, his family would be available to testify that he's able to live with them. He has always lived with them, and they have no problem with him returning to the house and no concerns either.
Ms. Freeman?
Thank you, Your Honor. I first would like to say that we've been in contact with the mother of the victim. The victim was 15 years old when this happened. The mother has stated that she is against a bond. She has stated that her daughter is in fear from the defendant, as well as there is a co-defendant in the case. And what she indicated to us is that her daughter said that the defendant actually told her that he has eyes on her in the area. She doesn't know what that means. She doesn't know if they live in the same community, but she is in fear for her safety. Judge, this was a case, Ms. Abbasi hinted to some of the facts, but this young lady was walking around, I believe it was a Walmart parking lot where the defendant allegedly picked her up, offered her a ride, and she went with him, and they went to, I believe it was the South Side Inn, where they proceeded to have sex, as well as with the co-defendant in this case. And so those are kind of the basic facts of this case. Mr. Abbasi is correct. I don't see any felony convictions in the defendant's history. However, he does have some misdemeanors in his history, starting back from 2009, a theft by taking, 2011, a hit and run, another in 2011, possession of marijuana, 2014, a driving with a suspended license. In 2015, he had a public indecency, but he used his first offender and completed that. And then in 2021, a possession of marijuana. Now, within this history, there are some probation violations. again, he doesn't have any felony convictions, but misdemeanors, but there are probation violations throughout the history, Your Honor. And I don't know if the probation violations stem from picking up a new charge or not. But again, I do show that he completed his first offender on the public indecency in 2015. So Judge, given these circumstances and what the victim's mother has indicated, and Ms. Abbas and I had talked about this case before, and I indicated to her that I could not consent to a bond case given the type of case it is, as well as the victim's wishes. Now, there is a concern, if Your Honor grants a bond, that there is a minor child living in the household. I guess it's a different kind of situation where Mr. Bossi says that I guess Mr. Reed has been is the sole caregiver for his daughter because the mother is not in her life, and he lives there with his parents, which certainly I understand given the possible mental capacity of the defendant. However, if the court is inclined to grant a bond, we would ask for at least on the minimum on the statutory rate, a $30,000, and on the cruelty to children in the first degree, a $20,000. That would be a total of $50,000 at minimum, with a stay away, of course, from the victim. We do have concerns about a minor child being there because of the allegations. So we would ask for that. I guess any contact with the minor child would have to be, or any minor child would have to be supervised by an adult. Meaning, if he lives there with his parents, that at no time should Mr. Reed be at home alone with his daughter. And I believe that's all I have, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if I may provide one additional bit of information.
Yes.
The allegations, as I have in the police report, I don't have any mention about him having eyes on her. Also, I don't know this young woman's address. Mr. Reed doesn't know it. So of course we'd consent to a stay away. I couldn't speak to whether they live anywhere near one another. The allegation in the police report is actually, it sounds like they kind of spent the day together. He picked her up. They went by a tattoo parlor. They then went to the motel. The first room they went to was too hot. They then swapped to another room. So it doesn't sound like in the course of that, this young woman was necessarily being held against her will and isolated from anyone else. She certainly was in public places, and necessarily swapping rooms, they would have had to go to the front desk and get their rooms swapped out. Not that any of this is to excuse any of the conduct, Judge. We just don't believe he's at risk of committing another felony, let alone something like this. We would consent absolutely to having supervised visitation, or excuse me, supervised contact with his daughter, and also welcome if DFACS would like to do a welfare check as well. That's not a problem at all.
Let me ask this question, and you may know this, Ms. Freeman. These facts are kind of ringing true to me. I don't know if I did warrant, if I sat on or presided on this case during first appearance. Is this the case where the allegation where the alleged victim had like some kind of argument or dispute or whatever at the store and walked out, and then that's when she encountered the person that she got into the car with?
It is. Now, Judge Bridgewater is signed off on the warrant, so you may have heard it in first appearance, but it does appear she may have had some kind of argument with her mom in Walmart before she left the store. And it seems like shortly after she left the store is when she was picked up.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
The police report reads that the victim's mother confronted her about texting and took her phone away. So the minor ran away from her mother.
At the store.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it wasn't like she ran away from home. She left the store.
correct. She left.
Yes. Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. All right. What I'd be willing to do is set a $30,000 bond on statutory rape and a $5,000 bond on the felony child cruelty for a total bond of $35,000. There's be no contact with the alleged victim. I'm not going to mention the alleged victim's name, but we'll reflect that within the order. I don't have any information as it relates to any kind of misconduct as it relates to the 5-year-old daughter. So I'm not going to place any conditions on that. This location where this whole incident was alleged to have taken place as it relates to placing the child in the car. Is this Piccadilly at
It was
that?
it was at the Walmart in Fayetteville. So on Pavilion. So I know where that Piccadilly is. It's not in the same plaza. They're not far from each other, but it's not in the same plaza. The Walmart is in the Pavilion.
I generally understand that because there's a bunch of stores over there.
Yeah.
I generally understand that area. He will be allowed to go back to work at the Piccadilly if that's what they're going to do. I'm not going to make it an order that he be employed, but I do believe having employment will be a good thing. If he encounters this young lady, he's to walk in the other direction, not to engage with her. Again, the no contact. If I get word that he's had any kind of contact through third party, through anybody else, he's going back to jail on an aggravated stalking charge. Okay. Is there anything else we need to do on this matter?
I think that's all, Your Honor. Your Honor, will you be preparing the order or?
Ms. Sabasi?
I am happy to prepare it, Your Honor. Or Your Honor can prepare it, or Ms. Freeman. She and I have worked together many times.
I'm going to ask you to prepare it. Send a copy over to Ms. Freeman for her review. And if it meets with what I've said, then send it to me and I'll sign it today.
Absolutely, Your Honor. I will get on that immediately.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Reed, can